In this episode, we're gonna look at rear naked choke off of a push. So in this episode, it's still kind of preemption. The guy is still, we're not contact yet. Maybe I'm working to get outside the elbows, these kind of things, but he leads the motion this time. So he goes to push me or grab my wrist or grab my lapel or whatever it is. And instead of me just staying inside where I'm gonna have to fight somebody that's bigger and stronger than me, I'm gonna look to create a better angle for myself. So the first movement is a basic arm drag that you see in wrestling a lot, and it's a big premium placed on it here in Fit to Fight. So as I come here and I bring Brad's elbow to his middle, again, I wanna be here. This is a better place for me to be. Brad's a lot bigger and stronger than I am. It doesn't make sense for me to play here so much. So as he goes to push or grab or whatever, I'm gonna make that redirection. Now this hand that's dragging, as I drag and kind of pull myself around, because it's easier to move me than it is to move somebody else, I'm looking to get to his back and expose him to this choke. And what I'm looking to do is shut down Brad's carotids on both sides of the neck. Okay, so it's a strangulation, it's a blood choke as opposed to air, wind. So as Brad extends, he pushes me. He's pushing, so I'm pulling. That arm extends, all right? I just kind of follow it up. Because Brad's taller, I want to bring him to me. I'm gonna go to the small of his back, break him down. I'm grabbing my own hand, elbow and forearm down his back, and I'm gonna look to shut him down from here. Depending on who's doing the choke, who's taking the choke, we're talking 3 to 5 seconds to unconsciousness. Even if it's 5 seconds on the top end, that's not 5 seconds of fighting. Maybe half that time, extremities start getting tingly, he's not fighting so much anymore. So one more time, as Brad extends, I drag, I move me. It's easier to move me than it is to move Brad. Arm follows to the choke, hand breaks him down to bring him to me. I'm on his back, I grab my hand and wrist, elbow down his back, and I'm looking to squeeze.
So Ryan, he's not providing any struggles right now. What are some considerations you may have with regards to that?
Honestly, not a ton. Not because this is like some magic technique or anything like that, but because he's obviously the aggressor. He's the one that's bigger, stronger, he's pushing, and in real time this happens relatively quickly. And what I want to do is break his posture. It makes it much more difficult for him to fight from here. And in reality, I'm not doing this because I'm working here with my friend Brad, but in reality, I'll start looking to drag him. And the more I drag him, the more he hangs himself on his own arm, and it makes it very difficult for him to fight through. I've been able to perform this in real life against much bigger, stronger people. And in training just 2 weeks ago, I was working with some Carolina Panthers football players, and I had an offensive lineman that wanted to see if this would work with him, and the dude was 300 pounds, 6'4", and same deal. Because, and again, don't get me wrong, bigger, stronger matters. If somebody's bigger and stronger, they're bigger and stronger. Anybody that tells you something different is just full of it. But because he was so aggressive and big, once I could move me and break him down here, it was much harder for him to recover because he had so much weight back over his hips and his heels that it was very difficult for him to recover. It would have still been a hell of a fight for me. And this time we're looking at what happens if things don't go the way I plan. Okay, so preemption is awesome. Self-protection, I want to control variables as much as possible. I want to be able to hit first if I can. I want to be able to leave if I can. I want to be able to choke if I can. But what happens if I'm doing everything right? I get outside the elbows, all of these things, but maybe I'm late, maybe I'm slow to pull the trigger on Raul, maybe Raul is just more aggressive than I expected, and he tries to grab me first. Or if you watched our video on lineup punches, power slaps, maybe I took my shot and it wasn't clean, or maybe he's just tough and he took it and he's looking to tackle. Look, what we know is intuitively, if somebody's getting it handed to them from here, they've got a couple of choices. They can run away, they can close the distance, or I guess they can keep taking a beating. In my experience, people try to close the distance because Raul knows intuitively that I can't do the same damage to him from here that I was doing from punching range. So what we're gonna look at is an arm stop. So physically, I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna put a barrier between Raul and I. So I'm working off of this fence that we've already looked at in previous episodes. And as Raul tries to close the distance and tackle me, I'm gonna do this arm stop and I'm gonna put a barrier between him and I. But at the same time, I'm creating separation from my hips. For Raul to really be able to pick me up, slam me, put me on my back, he needs to get his hips into my hips and my legs. So I wanna take that space and fill it here and then fill it here, okay? So I'm gonna arm stop and hip sprawl. I get my feet away and create this space here. Now, a big, strong, aggressive guy, it's not gonna be enough, so I'm immediately gonna look to counterattack. In this episode, we're looking at hockey punching off of this arm stop. So as I've done everything right, but Raul's not following the rules because that's the way things go. I hit my arm stop. I arm stop. Immediately, I'm looking to shoot underneath. Bang, his head comes up, I go over the top, it goes under again. I'm finishing outside of the elbows. Maybe here I look to tackle, maybe here I look to take his back. Maybe I take off running, that would be my preference if I could. And I'm showing under, over, under. It may be all under, it may be all over. It may be headbutt, I don't know. So much of it just depends on what happens in the fight. Fights, violence are dynamic. They're constantly changing. I'm not playing by he does A, I do B, he does C. Not the way real violence works. So here, what I know is I don't want him to get his hands on me. I need to create space. If I create space, I must fill it. In this instance, I'm looking to fill it with punches. And I'm gonna finish outside of the elbows. Either because I'm gonna run or because I'm gonna continue my attack, or I'm gonna make space and go to higher force or whatever the situation calls for.